We are back with segment 2 of the Cummins Real Estate Show. That's going to throw me for a while, Michelle. You've done this on purpose. I know it. But yes, we are back. That's what I'm trying to get to. Now, we've flipped things on its ear here, and we did the new listings and price reductions already. So now we have to get into, and I'm assuming because you've been away for 2 weeks, that you have stats.
I have the stats.
She has stats, and she's overly caffeinated. This could go really fast.
Absolutely. So get your ears on. Signs of stability in the Fraser Valley creates opportunities for home buyers and sellers. Now, this is a report that came out while I was in Vegas, and we have it here for everyone on our show in case they haven't seen it. House prices. You wonder what has happened to the house prices lately. Well, in February, in the Fraser Valley, posted a slight but positive bump after nearly a year of month-over-month decreases. Similarly, sales, though still trending lower than normal, also recorded their first monthly gain since October. So the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board processed 898 sales on the MLS in February. That is an increase of 43.5% over January, but still only half as many as what was recorded a year ago. Now, this is a report from our president of the real estate board, Sandra Benz. She says, in recent months, the level of uncertainty regarding rates and prices has negatively impacted inventory, and that's kept a lot of clients on the sidelines. Together with a growing consensus suggesting that a pause on rate hikes is imminent, the positive signals from the market give families something to build on and plan for. As that starts to happen, we expect to see sales pick up slowly but steadily heading into spring. With a sales to active listings ratio of 20%, the overall market was once again in balance. However, the ratio for townhouses was higher at 36%, indicating a seller's market for this category. The market is considered in balance when the ratio is between 12% and 20%. All indications suggest that the market is on track to reestablish a level of stability, which is encouraging for both demand and supply sides. And that's from Baldev Gill. He's our chief executive officer at the board. With solid opportunities for properties that are appropriately priced, and that is a big thing to know, investing in the expertise of the professional realtor should be the first decision buyers and sellers make to ensure the best local strategies before jumping back into the market. So properties spent between 7 and 12 fewer days on the market compared to last month. Another sign that the market may be picking up. So across the Fraser Valley in February, the average number of days to sell a single-family detached home was 36, and a townhouse, 33, and apartments took on average 32 days to sell. So benchmark prices overall in the whole Fraser Valley, so remember that, this is Fraser Valley right now, and then we'll get into the municipality by municipality, but single detached homes, benchmark price in February was at $1,364,300, and that's an increase of 0.5% compared to January of 2023, so the month before, and a decrease of 21.5% compared to February of last year. Townhouses are at $776,200, so that is a 0.4% increase compared to January, and a decrease of 13.8% compared to last year. Apartments are at $510,100, and that's an increase of 1.3% compared to January, and a decrease of 10.5% compared to last year. So, Curtis, we usually start with our wonderful, heart of the ocean, heart of the valley, Abbotsford. Should we start with Abbotsford stats before?
Well, you're throwing everything else for a loop, so let's keep something standard.
Let's do it. Okay, we'll stick with Abbotsford.
We'll stick with Abbotsford for now, and then we'll see what you do next month.
Detached benchmark prices in Abbotsford is $1,064,500, and that is a decrease of 29.9% from last year, but an increase of 1% from January. Townhouses, $607,000. That's a decrease of 11.9% from last year, and a decrease of 1.8% from the month before. Apartments, $394,100, and that's a decrease of 16.7% from last year, but an increase of 0.3% from January. Missions detached benchmark prices are at $884,200. That's a decrease of 32.7% from last year, but an increase of 1% from January. Townhouses, $625,200, and that's a decrease of 6.7% from last year, and a decrease of 1.3% from the month before. Apartments, $435,400, a decrease of 0.9% from last year, and a decrease of 0.5% from the month before. Now, White Rock and South Surrey, we got detached benchmark prices at $1,776,300. That's a decrease of 13.8% from last year and a decrease of 1.4% from the month before. Townhouses are at $885,700, a decrease of 15.5% from last year, but an increase of 0.9% from the month before. Apartments, $574,100. That's a decrease of 7.8% from last year, but an increase of 2.2% from the month before. Langley benchmark prices detached are at $1,467,800. That's a decrease of 20% from last year, but an increase of 0.4% from January. Townhouses are at $801,300, a decrease of 7.2% from last year, and an increase of 0.1% from January. Apartments, $557,800. That's a decrease of 11.5% from last year, but an increase of 1.5% from January. Delta benchmark prices for detached at $1,243,700, and that's a decrease of 23.7% from last year, an increase of 1.4% from January. Townhouses, $835,000, a decrease of 18.1% from last year, but an increase of 2.1% from the month before. And apartments, $547,400, a decrease of 11% from last year, and a decrease of 0.5% from the month before. And then the city of Surrey. So overall combined, all of Surrey, except for the South Surrey area, is benchmark prices detached $1,503,200, a decrease of 18.7% from last year, but an increase of 0.7% from the month before. And townhouses, $803,100. That's a decrease of 16.3% from last year, and an increase of 0.9% of the month before. And apartments are at $522,700, a decrease of 9% from last year, but an increase of 1.4% from January. And if you look at the stats, and please, I have these on my website under blog. I always upload the monthly stats, so have a look at the whole package. But if you look at a graph, and it is showing, as mentioned in the report from the president of the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board, is we're in a balanced market, and we are in a balanced market. And typically, our market is balanced. There's times we have a seller's market, times we have a buyer's market, but most of the time it is balanced. But again, it doesn't really feel balanced. When you ask people, they still feel that, or they feel it's a bit more of a buyer's market still, but it is truly a balanced market. And then when you look at the graph from the stats that show the overall prices in the Fraser Valley for detached homes, it goes all the way back to the 70s. It's one of my favorite graphs. But it shows that when it started declining as of last year in February 2022, it's actually had a tick up. So you could see that, Curtis, that little tick
I can.
up.
There's a little tick. We're moving back up in the right direction.
Yeah, there it is. I'm going to show it on our YouTube. You can watch later.
Which is funny because we talked about this over the last year, how, there was a lot of doom and gloom. We were going to lose 40% of the values of our homes and this and that. And then you'd come in and you'd find articles from experts that said, no, it's going to be more like 12 to 17% or things like that. And now here we are a year later, and things, granted, it's just a small tick, but it's starting to uptick already a year later.
Yes, and the last time the Bank of Canada met, they held the rate steady. They did not go up. They didn't go down, but they held them steady. And the word on the street is that most likely in 2024, they'll start maybe even coming down a little bit. But let's see what happens to the inflation as we move forward this year.
Mm-hmm,
we'll
absolutely.
see.
But it is, it's amazing. We always get the doom and gloom, and it's never as bad as they say. Since I was in high school, we're going to have the bottom fall out. We're going to have the bottom. And I went to school a long time ago, and the bottom has never fallen out.
No. I mean, how can it in our area? You know what? It's times we only see what's right in front of us. As humans, typically, we just see what's happening today, and fear is a driving force, unfortunately, for a lot of people. And that can change things. So if we realize, no, this is, look into the future, look into the past, make an educated decision, and know that there's always the times that it goes down or that we have difficult times. If you can bear through it for those 2 to 3 years that it typically lasts, then you'll be better off for it on the other side. But it is going to be a concern once people's mortgages, they're 5-year terms, which is the typical human being chooses the 5-year term in Canada, these terms that we've got. So, when those start coming up this coming year, if somebody can't afford the new rate, that's when it's going to be a little hard, for some people, and those who bought and went on variable just at the height and really were tight in what they can do. But luckily I really haven't seen any. I know there's foreclosures out there. I know one realtor who's working on one, but I've been talking to other realtors and we haven't really seen them. They're not really out there or happening very much yet. Hopefully not. But anyways, yeah. So I've got a quote for the show, and this quote comes from one of my awards that I received, a plaque that I received for best sales of last year in my office. And this quote reads, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." And that's Winston Churchill.
And here I half expected some kind of Elvis quote about Viva Las Vegas after last week, but...
That would have been a good one.
Well, Winston Churchill's always a pretty good source of material.
I'm sure, yeah.
But so is Elvis. So, and next week, your homework, I want an Elvis quote next week.
Okay.
I know you've used an Elvis quote before, but it's been a while.
I like homework. Okay, I'll do it.
All right. Well, if people want more information about your listings and what you do as a realtor, where can they go again?
MicheleCummins.ca.
And join us again next week when we will talk real estate in order to unlock your real estate potential on the show where real estate is maximized. Thanks for listening.